Good afternoon, everyone. We are resuming our hearing for the Committee of Public Health and Human Services. Thank you all for your patience. And would Mr. Sham call the next set of witnesses? We are going into our public comment of the hearing.
Yes, we have Barbara Gurley, Pat Albright, and Carolyn Hill.
They might have said they'll come back. Maybe. I don't know.
You want the seat a little higher, right?
All right.
You need the seat higher.
Oh, that would be kind of helpful. Oh, that one, okay.
Are you coming? Call their names.
Come in some.
Barbara
Yeah.
Gurley, Pat Albright, and Carolyn Hill.
I want to do mine in September.
She wants to do it in September.
September, okay.
Yeah.
What is your name, ma'am?
Barbara Gurley.
Barbara will do it in September.
Carolyn Hill will as well, because she had to go out of town.
Okay, so we just have one.
So I will.
Yeah, so I just wanted to share my statement today.
Okay, just 1 second. I need to say this. Please state your name, and you have 1 minute to present your testimony. Please begin.
I'm sorry, I have to tell you, I can't hear.
I was going to say, please begin your testimony, state your name, and I just wanted to let you know we have 1 minute per testimony today.
Okay, I can't, can I get another minute for one who didn't?
Yeah,
No.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. All right, hi. Well, I'm Pat Albright, and I'm with the Give Us Back Our Children and Every Mother's a Working Mother Network. We've been supporting and working with mothers dealing with the child welfare system for 2 decades, coming together to get children unjustly reunited with their mothers and families. The special committee of the committee's recommendations were a victory coming out of that fight. And especially poverty is not neglect, open family court, no removal of children of domestic violence survivors, and drug use. And we have others that are important in our open letter that we submitted, sent around to people before. And there are a couple of other recommendations that need to be added. One is no children taken because of disabilities, and the other is no more termination of parental rights. So we would like those added. These recommendations need to be implemented, and the poverty of mothers must be tackled to support the bond between mother and child and in recognition of the hard work of caregiving. Hundreds of mothers and families testified at City Council DHS hearings in 2019, documenting unjust removals of their children and the damage done as a result, including the rise in the foster care to prison pipeline, and many of those on our streets homeless have been in the DHS system. They expose the targeting of Black single mothers and their families and other discrimination. 65% of children taken are Black, while only 38.9% of Philadelphia's population identify as Black or African American. We also call on City Council to actively support resolution number 25008000, which for the expanded federal child tax credit passed by City Council. An April press conference at City Hall featuring City Councilwoman Rue Landau and Representative Dwight Evans, along with representatives of our groups, outlined the features we want in an expanded child tax credit: fully refundable and available to those without income or with low income, paid monthly at a higher amount, and available to those with ITINs. We're also calling for active support for other cash assistance for mothers and caregivers, which recognize the work of caregiving, support the bond between mother and child, reduce child separation, and enable us to leave domestic violence. The earned income tax credits to mothers and unpaid caregivers, as well as low-income students. We're supporting a bill that would do this called the Worker Relief and Credit Reform Act by Representative Gwen Moore from Wisconsin. This would, for the first time, recognize unwaged work of mothers and other unpaid family caregivers as workers, expanding the definition of work, as well as including low-income higher education students, making them eligible.
Okay, we will need to wrap it up. I gave you extra time.
Pardon me?
I gave you extra time. I will need you to
okay,
wrap
I'm
it up.
almost done.
Yeah.
Sorry about, thank you though. We also need to be fighting for a higher increase in TANF benefit levels, which had not been raised since 1990, and it's $403 a month for a mother with 2 kids. And also, we're calling for a guaranteed care income paid monthly to mothers and caregivers. We need to actively oppose work requirements as a condition for receiving tax credits, SNAP, TANF, Medicaid, or other benefits that help keep families out of the system. Mothers and unpaid caregivers are already working. And yes, it's important to hear people's stories, but we must use today's or the upcoming hearings to demand implementation of these recommendations now, especially getting money into the hands of mothers for the work we do. Mothers have earned it, and children deserve it. Every mother is a working mother, and we can't wait. We can't just keep waiting for more hearings because children are already paying too heavy a price, and we don't want more children to pay. So thank you for allowing us to make this.
Thank you for your testimony. Thank you for your advocacy. And we will be taking everything into account as we move forward. And those who couldn't testify from your group are coming back on September 15th.
Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Mr. Sham, will you call our next witness?
Bridget Powell, Wanda Walker, and Yolanda Mitchell-Taylor.
I
Good
stepped out
afternoon.
for a minute.
Please state your name and begin your testimony.
My name is Bridget Powell. Good afternoon. I'll be brief since we only have 1 minute.
And as I know your story too.
Yes. So I'm no stranger to this courtroom. I've been in here testifying since 2019. And I heard you, Councilman Lozada, ask about the 2022 report, and basically that's what I'm asking for. Like, at what point are we going to just stop saying there's a book written and start doing some actions about it? I sat here and I listened attentively to a lot of people testify, and my thing is, I get people are overburdened, but it doesn't give people the right to lie. I've been in this since 2016 with my family, and I've listened to social workers lie in court, lie in documents, and it's just not acceptable. So I don't care how overworked you are. I'm a nurse. I would never say I gave someone insulin and I didn't. And that's my thing, like they're lying about people's drug testing. They're lying about clearances one time, and this will be my last thing. Here's my example of lying. I had a child who was a potential kinship placement for me, and the school worker kept saying, "Oh, we're waiting for your clearances to come back." I let her put it in writing, and then I replied, I said, "You never asked me my social security number." So like, those are the kind of games that are being played, and like you said, our children are our future, so we should not be playing with them. So little things like that, there's no place for this, and it's unacceptable. So for someone to say they're waiting for my clearances to come back, and they never asked me my social security number, I do clearances every so many years with my job, so I knew that that was like a lie. So that's the end of my testimony, and I appreciate you to keep pushing this, because I will be here to keep pushing it with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bridget, and thank you for staying with it. We're going to do something. So, and this report that, you know, all of you, this is the previous report. There's another hearing that's going to come, which Councilmember Cindy Bass, who was in this part of this was before my time, we're going to be reconvening the child separation issue as well, because it has to be reauthorized again, that special committee. We're in
Okay.
that process, we didn't forget.
And please include me. I'm here and available. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Please state your name and begin your testimony.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Yolanda Taylor, and I know I am limited with time, so for time's sake, I did have some documents up to you, so I'll address a few things that were stated just today, starting with Commissioner Alley's statement about a call that is a blackout call, would not be investigated. In my case, and this is where the issue lies, to go further with what Bridget was speaking on, workers, so power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And these workers, they are under, if you ask the question, who are they under? No one knows the answer. Like, there's no accountability. All you do is have wrong money. So, for example, my daughter was first taken on what should have been a screen out call, and which shouldn't have been investigated. She was taken 3 months in while I was supposedly under an investigation. I went to the state, which the state then notified me, listen, well, what do you mean she's not in your care? She hasn't been in my care for 3 months, okay? So the worker on my case decided to turn that screen out investigation into their own investigation, which hence the state intervened and I was awarded her back. Unfortunately for me, I was told at that time that she's being given back to me because they have to, not because they want to, and they'll be back in a year. A year to date, they came back, okay? Supposedly it was that I didn't have utilities, in that upon arriving at my home, ACs is on, all that. I allowed them to even search my dressers or anything else they were looking for, even when the police needs a search warrant, okay? Because I have nothing to hide. Hence, here it is, and I can prove this is what the problem is. I'm just gonna speak on many of the other parents, the corruption lying with them going on in a courtroom, able to write any false documentation they want, and you as a parent, even though you do have representation, sometimes you feel like your attorney doesn't work for you in that courtroom, and also holding the city solicitors accountable as well. So DHS, and I applaud a lot of workers, I'm not gonna say DHS on a overall, because there are many good workers, but for the ones which I met with Miss Alley back in December, I'm still looking for proof of life for my baby girl, Miss Alley, but that's a whole nother story in itself, which might, you know, I'll come back on another day and speak on that, because that might be the crack in our system why our kids are dying, because I've called the FBI for proof of life, and I understand DHS likes to hide behind the confidentiality, but when you're the person prompting me to have a concern for whereabouts of a child, then you need to at least give me that so I can sleep at nights.
I hear you. Thank you so much
You're
for your
welcome.
testimony. It's very stressful.
Yes.
To have a prolonged experience like this, and we hear you. That's why it's so important to hear from all of you. Thank you so much. Please state your name and...
Hello, beautiful people. It's Wanda Walker. I'm here today because I was the president for KUA 5 for 5 years in a row, and I was on Turning Points. And I saw a lot of wonderful, great things that the KUAs did and DHS, because we're under DHS. However, after I met these ladies and saw and heard for myself things that were unbelievable, the fact that we have the highest child-family separation in the whole United States blows my mind, since there's many other places who have caseloads that are 2 and 3 times the amount of our caseloads. I met these ladies here. We're now friends and sisters. I've gone on ops with them to see things for myself. She's not exaggerating, she's not lying. And the fact that we've had so many incidences where children have been unalive just last year is just unbelievable. I know you all are tired of seeing me because I'm here Thursday and I'm here for this and I'm here, but I just care about the community, and I know Philadelphia can do better. DHS has to do better. And the real stories lie in talking to people like this. I don't care about credentials. We don't need credentials. We need people with compassion and common sense. When you say it's personal, I know for a fact that some of the workers made it real personal, so personal it wasn't professional. And that's where the problem lies. We have to do better because we can't keep spending this type of money and having these types of outcomes. And for all the great stories they told, we need to be telling 100 more for the amount of money that our taxpayers are spending. I think that's about it. I'll be back September the 15th. I wanted to keep it under the time limit because you know I can talk. Okay.
Well, we thank you, Wanda.
And you are awesome. Both of y'all are awesome, but I like your passion. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Wanda, and we appreciate your advocacy on many fronts, and thank you both for your testimony. Mr. Sham, do we have any more witnesses?
Yes, we do. We have Jasmine Banks and Donna Jones.
Good afternoon. Please state your name and begin your testimony.
Good afternoon. My name is Jasmine Banks. I am a former foster parent of 15 children I've raised and adopted 5. So I come today to speak for my 1 minute as an insider, a credible messenger, boots on the ground, a frontline parent. And so quickly, I'll speak in bullets. That's the only way I can do in this 1 minute, is that my children live with autism, intellectual disabilities, bipolar, schizophrenia, and serious medical challenges. And they've been in over 50 out-of-birth parent placements, so they have surely fallen through the cracks. When I adopted, or even actually when I went into foster care, I actually then adopted, I went from the frying pan and jumped directly into the flames, as it was the worst experience that I could ever even imagine, that I've ever had in my entire life. Only by God's grace am I here to speak with you today. So I'd love to have some time to talk to you. I will submit my testimony to you, Ketsi, and hopefully meet with you later. I did with Deshawn. I sent some information on my background. And most of the reasons is because of the false allegation of abuse. I call that the AK-47 of the youth servicing system. I want to make sure that people understand that serious mental illness, substance use disorders, different pathologies that exist in our community, when we have predators, we have all kinds of offenders. The same amount of people that exist in the society and the community exist in the systems. The difference between people in the community and people in serving systems is that they're protected. They have immunity from prosecution. They are protected by the powerful unions, and it's a whole lot of other cover-up, the same kind of ways that goes on in the police department. So when you hear people talk about false allegations of abuse or false documentation, it's real. As an insider, as I said, as a credible messenger, I knew that if I survived what I did, that I knew that I would have a moral responsibility to try to help people understand what the pathology is within the system and all of the challenges that exist. So there's so many challenges, such as unjust removals. I've witnessed it multiple times. I've even had it. False allegation of abuse by a social worker, false allegation of abuse by a therapist, and my husband had a false allegation of abuse by the psychiatrist because she didn't because he didn't side with her against my mother. So it is the weapons and the violence that exist in our community is the same kind of violence within the systems. The only difference is it's invisible violence. And if people think that you have to have bloodshed in order to be harmed, then you don't understand psychology, you don't understand pathology. So many of us are severely traumatized, and why it's very difficult for us to testify because of these invisible wounds. When someone lies on you and slanders you and defames your character, then you'll become busy talking about trying to defend yourself as opposed to raising all of your children and taking care of them. And I met many birth families who relied on, and and let me just also say, in my opinion and in my experience, and over these 30-plus years, that majority of the children who are in the system should have never, ever been in the system. And the amount of abuse that exists is outrageous. And I understand burnout. I understand, as I do, I understand pathology. I understand substance use disorders. I am a prevention specialist trained by St. Joe's University. So I'm very fortunate to have had other experiences. But I think the challenge is you have, for example, to even come to this hearing. I've been involved in the system and I'm widely known in the community. That is the community that I'm in. I'm in the disability community. I've been so busy raising so many children, I didn't have time to come meet city council members, so like other people have. So I think that you need to have the perspectives of the real boots on the ground. No one knows the children better than the people who raise them. And often the parents are demonized. So when we speak, it's automatically that we're guilty, we are lying, as I said, we've been demonized. And that's one of the weapons of the system. And that's why I call it the AK-47 and the amount of violence that exists within the system. But because you rarely hear from us, we're typically not invited, by the way. Foster parents, adoptive parents are not invited to the CUAs. We're not invited, and nor does DHS workers know us. And nor do they invite us to hearings like this. So we don't know about it, and that's why you don't see many foster parents and adoptive parents in this room and at some of the hearings, because one, they're taking care of the children, they're traumatized, and they're afraid of the retaliation. So I had several retaliation attacks. I had no idea that people would lie. I didn't understand pathology, that they would lie on me, that they would use their power differential against me. And so I would like to hopefully meet with you all, and I hope that you will have a special hearing simply for the people who have the lived experience of actually raising children, not people who come in and supervise them and then go to the other caseloads. I'm not invalidating their experiences, but I'm saying in terms of the elephant theory, and parents who raise children are a little bit closer to the tail, right. So we get to smell a little bit more than others, and we get the weight of it. So please listen to the other sides so that you can learn and understand what those I call them invisible enemies, how they exist within systems, how they're protected by the unions, the huge disconnect, while the leadership doesn't even know the foster and adoptive parents. I'm a seasoned parent, but they don't know us. And it doesn't seem like they're trying to get to know us, because people who have survived will be able to tell the truth and talk about what's really going on. So I really appreciate the time, I appreciate this hearing, and I hope that we can meet and talk and learn in the future. I am writing a memoir, by the way, by the grace of God. May I live to share those real true stories about what goes on the inside. And it was the worst experience of my life. But I made it through to take care of the children. But wow. The system, some of the work, and of course it's not everyone. It's the same thing like violence in the community. You can't say all the people are violent, but you do have the predators, you have the offenders, you have people who are not well, let's put it that way. The same thing in the system, and they exist to the same degree. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for your advocacy, for your work. 15 children. We're grateful to you that you're here and speaking, and this is exactly what we need, and that's why we're going to have a continuation of this hearing, and there'll be some other modalities where people can participate. We are still working on those, but just wanted to say that, yes, it is correct that we have bad actors everywhere. Yes. In government, in our regular communities, and we must have those guardrails to protect against and understanding there's always going to be that. And that's exactly why we're talking to everyone, to understand where we need to make the fix in our systems and how do we improve them, and how do we have measurable ways to see what change happened, how do we measure the outcome of those changes. So thank you again for your advocacy. Can I just say one additional thing? Because one of the things in my book that I really want to be very clear about is using what I call correct or very accurate or bullseye language. Mm-hmm. Yes, you have bad actors. Unfortunately, I'm not talking about bad actors. There are plenty of them. I'm talking about predators. I'm talking about offenders in the system. Now, whether they're using substances or whether they have untreated serious mental illness, I don't know, because I'm not their psychiatrist. Yeah. So it's different between bad actors
and predators.
Thank you.
And offenders. And
Yeah.
so it's very important for people in authority who are in the legislature to understand the language, because unfortunately people are not using the correct language. Bad actors, or what they call, I forgot the other word they say, it's another language that they use. It's like saying, if you had a serial killer in the community, you wouldn't say bad actor, trust me. You know, and if you
Thank
were the
you.
victim of
I
them,
appreciate
you
that.
certainly
Thank you
wouldn't.
so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Mr. Sham, do we have any more witnesses?
We have one more, Lisa Mohammed.
Maybe they had to leave.
There are no further speakers on the public comment list, Madam Chair.
Okay. Okay, so the chair recognizes, I want to thank all of you, all our witnesses, everybody for joining us today. We need this, we need to hear it, we need to hear it firsthand, and I appreciate that, and there's going to be much more on this matter. Madam Vice Chair, I look to you for a motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that this committee stand in recess until Monday, September 15th, 2025 at 1 p.m.
I have to second it. It has been moved and properly seconded by me. And so in the opinion of the chair, we are going to recess until September 15th, 2025 at 1 p.m. Thank you so very much, everyone.